What's up, everybody? Welcome to Biohistory Raw TV. This is a response to luimarco. I think that's how you pronounce it. Luimarco. Luimarco's video on true pre-workout of the pros. Now, apparently he saw my video that I was talking about Nubain, and I do have the Nubain video up, Louis. Oh, I have it, in the phone. I just got to get it uploaded. But I want to kind of touch on a few things that I think you might be interested in. Well, the first thing is the Nasser interview that you read. I'd say Nasser's 100% on. At that time frame that Nasser was competing, Nubain was huge, okay, but it was huge inside of like the national level circuit and the professionals, but it didn't really trickle down into the amateurs very much. So it's not like every amateur bodybuilder was out there using Nubain. This was something that was very highly guarded, so not many people knew about, because it was in fact an addictive drug that caused a lot of issues for a lot of people that I knew, including myself. This is what kind of led me down that path to using other painkillers and then eventually heroin, which was just an awful experience. But to say that 80% of the bodybuilders then were using it would be mistaken. I'd say maybe 20% of them were using it, and that would be a high estimate on how many guys were using this stuff, because there wasn't really enough to go around back then. So it wasn't like everybody could get their hands on it. They were told about it. It was kind of a guarded secret, not just because they thought that it worked to help them with their gains. They just didn't want to give up their supply, because when you ran out, you get really sick. So at that point, there were guys that got busted with it. Jason Arntz was actually busted with a whole garage full of this stuff. And I think Dave Palumbo had been busted with it. I mean, a lot of guys were taking this stuff. And nowadays, where you said that you think that the guys nowadays may be using it, that would be almost 100% false. And I'll tell you why. There is a huge shortage of Nubain. The companies that were producing this stuff, which originally it was for medical purposes for women in pregnancy to dull the pain before they gave them the epidural and stuff, and there was different brands of Nubain. There was Abbott, Astra, and Endo. Those are the three that I knew of. And there was one in Mexico too. I can't remember what the brand name on that one was. But when these companies figured out that this thing was being pushed on the black market, they stopped producing it. Okay, so now all of a sudden this big supply that had been sitting in warehouses was gone. And once it dried up, that's what caused a lot of issues. Paul DeMeo, who you mentioned also, was a victim of this. He was taking Nubain, and when the Nubain dried up, like everyone else, he moved on to heroin, and that's when he overdosed. So a lot of guys kind of transferred from the Nubain over to heroin or Oxycontins, which was becoming big at the time. But since then, Nubain has almost become extinct. It's almost impossible to find. There's actually forums and websites based for Nubain and finding Nubain and talking about Nubain, because there are people with legitimate illnesses that need this Nubain that are just in a lot of pain. But every once in a while you see someone pop up on there on these forums, and I've seen it, and they say, "Oh, I'm looking for Nubain. I have bad headaches. Please message me with any source of Nubain that you can possibly get." Like, people are so desperate for this stuff that they're going on forums trying to get messages, trying to order from all over the world. Now, if you go to try to order this stuff online, it's almost impossible to get. Those supplies are just not there anymore. So, as far as the Nubain being pushed now, I don't think any of these guys are messing with the stuff now. And I've been around several pros, actual top pros, and I know what it looks like to have Nubain eyes. When you look in their eyes and they're dulled up and they're messed up. And I don't see this in the guys anymore. Okay, I don't see that their lives are being destroyed anymore. I don't see stupid things happening like, murdering someone, etc. That guy, Titus, it's been, very well known that he was loaded on Nubain as well as other stuff. Tom Prince was another one who was, loaded on Nubain. These are people who have come out and talked about it openly. And Milo Sarcev was huge on Nubain. He was taking a lot of Nubain back in the day. But you don't see those anymore. You see the guys actually more focused now and not really doing the illegal things that they're getting caught with for doing stupid shit because they're high. Now, one thing that I do know for a fact is going on nowadays, gyms on the West Coast, and I actually spoke to a pro, not too in-depth about it, but he had asked me, he said, do they do this out here? He had noticed that they're doing speed, like uppers, before their workouts. That's the new pre-workout of the in-shape fit people, or some of the bodybuilders on the West Coast. They're taking speed, not shots, but they'll take pills get themselves all pumped up and hyped up on speed. I'm not talking about caffeine. I'm not talking about Jack 3D. I'm not talking about ephedrine. I'm talking about actual speed. And then they go train on the speed, and then they'll go out to do the nightlife, which runs through the whole night over there on speed. So that seems to be the new thing that is going on out there. But as far as Nubain, it's long since been gone. And you were right about every couple of hours, or every hour that Nasser said. I mean, here's a little story time for the luimarco channel. I was actually at a mall one time with my girlfriend, and the Nubain had worn off, and I went into the bathroom in the stall. And I just started to shoot up my Nubain. I heard someone come in and go in the stall next to me. And I swear to God, this is how messed up I was, how demented my mind was. I swear to God, I heard them pull the cap off a syringe, and I heard the bottle moving around. And in my head, I said, you know what, I got the endo. I wonder if they have Astra or Abbott. I almost took the bottle and put it under the thing, under the stall, and was like, hey, what kind do you have? Do you want to share? Like, that's how demented my mind was. I thought everybody was taking Nubain. That's how bad it was. When we went to Mexico in 2000 or 2001, I was hooked on Nubain. The thing we had to do was travel with it. You can't be without it for 4 hours. We knew once we got to Mexico, you could buy it over the counter legally there, but you're on a plane ride for 4 hours. You can't be spazzing out on a plane. So this was before 9/11, before all this stuff happened, and we actually took an insulin bottle, peeled the label off an insulin bottle, peeled the label off the Nubain bottle, put the insulin label on the Nubain bottle, put it in one of those insulin carriers with syringes, and brought it on the plane like that so we could have our Nubain. Does that sound like someone who's irrational? I mean, it takes some thought and some planning to go into it, but that's not a rational thought of a rational person trying to get their drugs so they can get out of the country with their drugs, so they can get drugs down there, and then you can fly back in the country with your bottle because they think it's a medication. So, be aware that this stuff, if you do come in contact, the ketamine. I used to do the ketamine with it too. You fill up a little bit of Bain, a little bit of ketamine. The ketamine would zoot you out a little more and make you a little more messed up. So you'd only do that like after you work out or before you go to bed or something like that. Because during the day you would just act totally stupid, and people would know there's something wrong with you if you're on something. So my advice to you guys is, if you run into this stuff anywhere for some godforsaken reason, more than likely you won't, because it's so hard to get that if you got anywhere near someone's supply, they'd probably kill you to keep it. Run the other way. Don't mess with this stuff. I got lucky and I got out of it, but a lot of these guys like Paul DeMeo, Titus, they didn't get out of it like I did. Some of them are dead, some of them are in jail, but I'm not saying it's directly linked to the Nubain, but it didn't help them either. So I just want to thank luimarco. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, for posting on the video, because I actually had some of your subscribers come over, subscribe to my channel after seeing that. I appreciate you posting the video, and I hope that this explains a little more about it, and I will be putting up the other Nubain videos soon, so be on the watch out for that. BioStraining@gmail.com, and we're